Welcome to the Paws Perspective,
the podcast where we help dog owners feel calmer, clearer and more confident by understanding what's really going on behind their dog's behaviour.
We're Pat and Molly from Flying Paws Dog Training, and each episode we break down behaviour, training and real life challenges in a way that actually makes sense.
From puppies and adolescents, breed traits and everyday training struggles, we focus on working with your dog's instincts, not against them.
Whether you're trying to prevent problems before they start, or you're feeling stuck and not sure what to do next,
you're in the right place.
So grab a coffee, clip on the lead,
and let's get into today's episode.
Hi Molly, how are we doing today?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad at all. What are we going to have a chat about today?
We're going to talk about body language.
Why?
Because what...
That was a fairly aggressive one.
I'm going to keep that in the podcast just so you know. Oh my goodness. How you've thrown me. What did you ask me? Oh my God. Why? That's right. It was nasty. We're going to talk about, you've lost it now. We're going to talk about body language because it's one of those things that gets oversimplified, isn't it?
Oh, everyone says read your dog's body language, but is it easy?
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, and it's something that gets talked a lot about on social media, trainers, vets, all these sorts of people. But it's not, I think sometimes it gets angled like people aren't paying attention to their dogs or people aren't understanding their dogs. But it's not quite as simple as that, is it?
No, it's not. And sometimes, people say, oh, just read their body language or watch their body language, and it gets a bit oversimplified, you might say.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit more to it than that. So there's sort of a lot of subtle signs, isn't there?
Yeah, there can be.
What sort of subtle signs are we looking for if we're talking about body language?
Oh, that's a really open-ended question, isn't it? That could be anything. I think it's not so much what subtle signs are there. It's that they can be subtle, they can be quick, and they can be very individual. I think talking about a subtle body sign that is individual that can be misread is in a lot of photos, Zan looks like he's got what's known as whale eyes.
Yeah, and they're showing the whites of their eyes, aren't they?
And what does that mean? For whale eyes, what do whale eyes mean? Don't look at me like that. You know, you do this all the time. You go, I don't know.
They're scared?
Yeah, good job. Oh my God. Yes, yeah. So it often means that they're scared or unsure or they're in avoidance.
Yep.
But his head shape and how black he is, which sounds like a stupid thing to say, but he's a dark, shiny black.
Yeah.
The whites of his eyes, if he moves his eyes in a certain direction, are really pronounced.
Yeah, and he's got those starey-berry eyes as well. So sometimes in photos he stares like he's staring quite a lot. And yeah, you're right. If you get him in the right angle, he often has the whites of his eyes showing.
But he's always been like that.
He has. And it's not that he's in a situation where he's scared or anything like that. It's just him. And this is where it can be a little bit awkward to read, isn't it? Because if you look at that one picture, say, of him, someone might say, oh, he's a bit scared or he's not too sure.
And it can be influenced by the environment too, can't it?
Yep.
So in one place something might mean something, in another place it might mean, in context, it might be something totally different. So if we're relying on it as the only indicator of behaviour, how our dog's feeling, all these sorts of things, we can sometimes miss or we zone in too much. You've got a good story about that from your dog training days.
Oh, yeah, I like to bring this one out every now and again. Years ago, and it was quite a few years ago, I went to...
Because you're old.
Yeah, because I'm old. I went to Melbourne to... I used to go over there to quite a few different workshop, seminar type things. And I went to one, and that was on anxiety, dogs with anxiety. And a lady brought her dog along that was anxious.
She was the one hosting the...
She was hosting the day, and I was over there with a friend that I'd done my dog training with. And we both commented when we left, every time the dog moved, laid down, looked somewhere, she was like, oh, see, it's anxious, it's doing this. Oh, look at that, it's anxious, it's doing this. And we sort of came away and had a bit of a chat on the drive home, and we're like, really? Was every single thing that dog did, it was because it was anxious? Or like, it might have just been a bit tired and wanted to lay down and have a rest.
It's interesting taking a quote-unquote anxious dog and putting it in a room full of people in
to start with.
Anyway,
yeah, I mean, that's one thing. But, yeah, so sometimes, and I've that's not the only time. I have seen that in other times as well, when people think their dog's, something, and then everything it does, it's like, oh, that's because it's like that. That's because it's like that.
I think before we get into what we're going to actually talk about, I think licking can be one of those things.
Oh, yeah.
Like, licking can be a sign of anxiety. We'll often say to people, do they lick? And in a certain context, we might say, okay, they might be, or that might be a sign of anxiety.
Yep.
But some dogs just like
licking, slurp, and
yeah.
So again, individual dogs, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got to be a little bit careful of those sorts of things. So why, I guess, do you think sometimes signals get missed?
I think, as we've mentioned before, they're quick. Yep. They're quick and they're misunderstood. And I think some of where the misunderstanding comes back to people saying, just watch their body language.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is, and I think we notice this in class, if you're sitting there or standing there and you're watching someone with a dog, you can see the whole picture a bit more. But if you're actually with your dog, if it's a small dog, it might be a fair way, like it's down lower to your ankles. If you've got a big dog, like you with Merv, he might be out in front. So can you see what his face is doing? Can you see what his tail's doing? So sometimes, it's hard if you're actually with the dog trying to do something, and then if something's happening, it's a little bit hard to actually be able to read the dog in those situations.
And there's so many what is called micro behaviours.
Yep.
That can lead up to things like we've mentioned, lipping, head turning, weight shifting, that might be something, they might not be something, but they're all part of a bigger picture.
Yeah.
So it could be that they'll lick their lips and then the environment changes and they go, oh, actually I'm okay now.
Yeah.
Or something could keep happening and that's when something escalates. So this is where I think it's really hard, because people will say, look for those little signs, but are you then going to misinterpret that sign from they're okay to they're not okay, or they're not okay to they are? Like, it's so hard and it's so context driven a lot of the time.
It is. And if you take lipping and you've got a big dog that's heads out in front of you, can you see that?
Yeah, but like, what about Murph? He just sits and licks his lips all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's more like I'm going to say OCD behaviour, but I don't think he's got OCD. I think he's just got into a habit and he does it all the time. There's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah.
He's just annoying.
Yeah. Poor old Murph.
It's annoying. You know how much it annoys me when he sits here and it's like
slurp.
Anyway, getting off topic. But I think things get missed because people look for the big things. Yeah. Is basically what we're talking about. People look for the bark, the lunge, the growl, the, let's say, over the top reactions, but
they're a bit more easier to recognise, aren't they?
They're easy to recognise because they're obvious, aren't
they?
Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know that if the dog's got to that point, they're at that point. But I think moving into the next thing, the other thing that we can miss signs for is because dogs get taught to skip the warning signs.
Yeah, they do sometimes.
And that's, I shouldn't say they're not always taught. Sometimes, and this is where there's a lot of the time people will say don't punish a growl.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But sometimes, and again, I'm going to use Zan as an example for this. He went through a period when he was a lot younger where he would redirect when he was frustrated.
Yep.
With his mouth usually onto the closest thing, which was usually if I had him, me, if you had him, you. And he's probably skipped what would be 10 steps in a arousal, let's say, because he'd just go from 0 to 100.
Yep.
So skipping the warning signs doesn't always mean they've been suppressed. It just means they go so up the ladder so quickly that they skip them themselves.
Yeah, and a reaction time can be 0.02 of a second, which is pretty quick.
Yeah.
So how do you read anything in that time?
Yeah, if they're going to react that quickly, you can't. The other thing which some people may be dealing with is under-socialised dogs.
Mm-hmm.
We often hear when we have people who've rescued a dog that they don't like men or they don't like kids. It may just be that they've never actually been exposed properly to things.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Or exposed in a good
way.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't necessarily mean that they've been
abused
abused is probably the word I'm looking for. It just means that,
mightn't be used to them.
No. Or one rapped at the window once and scared it, or, you know.
Yep, definitely.
But these are the behaviours that people will say come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's usually just too fast or not obvious enough to pick up.
Yeah, definitely. I guess you sort of mentioned it before, the context can change things. So how is that going to change?
Well, I think this is when we start to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. So it's environment, it's triggers, it's the distance to the trigger, it's, as we mentioned with Zan a second ago, arousal levels, it's as again we mentioned, previous experiences, and it's common misconceptions too, I think, where we're often taught that a waggy tail means happy.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets way more complicated. Is it low and loose? Is it high and stiff? Is it quick? Is it slow? Is it more to the left? Is it more to the right?
Left and right can mean different things, can't they?
What do they mean?
Right's pretty happy and left can mean it's not quite so happy.
Good job. Stillness versus calmness versus stiffness. They can all look the same unless you're looking for really small details.
Yeah. And it's sort of hard, isn't it? Because you've got to look at a lot of different videos or a lot of different books with pictures to pick up all these different, changes, haven't you?
We did a body language course a couple of years ago, and you've got quite a good book. I can't see it from here. You'll probably be able to see it. It's the Dogs in Motion.
Dogs in Translation?
Dogs in Translation. That's actually really quite a good book if anyone's interested in. And did that have not that a lot of people might be interested in this, but did that have a workbook with it?
I think the Dogs in Translation one did, because I got those other couple, and that was years ago when I
I mean your newer ones.
Did my dog thing.
Because we did ours through Crimson Canine,
which
I can link below if anybody's interested in having a look and learning more about body language.
But I think Dogs in Translation was. It'd be a pretty old book now because I got that a long time ago. But
are we talking about the same book?
No, I don't know that we are. I'm just trying to get up and have a look. I've got like 4. That's the one. Yeah. Oh, is that the newer one I got?
The newer one.
I was thinking of Canine Body Language. Sorry.
Deanna, come back and do the podcast now, please.
Yeah, I was thinking of the other one.
No, they're Brenda Olaf ones.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting off track.
Yeah. Dogs in Translation, it has got a workbook.
It has got a workbook.
Yeah. So that is a good book if anyone's interested.
The other thing talking about, getting back to what we're talking about, is social media has made it. We've talked about social media in a few of our things now, but it's another thing that has not favoured dogs in certain contexts. Whether it's still pictures, whether it's slow motion clips, whether it's perfect signals, whether one that I know irks me, and I know you'll probably say you don't see them, but will irk you is, or can be, kids with dogs or babies with dogs.
Yep.
Or even just dogs with dogs.
Yep.
And the other thing is that you can, and a lot of people do and we do in certain things for certain types of content to promote it, or not promote it, but to show something, is you set something up.
Yeah.
So you can have control, so you can show there's no surprises, there's no,
Yep.
and then that's not showing things necessarily from a body language perspective in a clean aspect, is it? Because real life's not clean.
No, it's not. There's lots of things happening. So
But we also, and we've said this again on the podcast, but we try to show the messy bits too, to show you that dogs are messy. They're not.
Yeah, that doesn't always go to plan. Sometimes it's things happen. But yeah, social media, sometimes it can be set up, but also sometimes it might be just a photo that's put up and then people pick the eyes out of it, like we said, because the dog's ears might be slightly back, or its eye might be slightly whiter, or and as we've said, every dog's different.
Yeah.
And we're only talking about that. Was it this morning or yesterday when we walked up to school with the dogs, and we were talking about, was it Fox or Zan put their ears back?
Fox.
Yeah.
He has his ears back a lot, and it is, or can be, a sign of being worried or being unsure. But I think some of it's his head shape too, that when he's like on the move, he pins his little ears back and
And I was just trying to think, Zan, I was trying to think what I was doing with Zan the other day, and his ears were going backwards and forwards, and then he moves along and they're back, and it's just him. So sometimes I think this is where people can say, that picture's not showing a true representation, I guess. But it is, because, it might be just a dog laying at a cafe, and they might have their ears back slightly, but it might just be because they've heard a noise or just them. So I think that it can be hard with social media.
It can be, and it can be hard too in I've lost my train of thought. Where are we at? 17. I can fix this. It can be hard too, in that, as you said, not only are they different, but breeds, individual breeds can be different.
Can be different,
as well as
definitely
learning histories.
Yep.
As well as that, one behaviour might be used in a variety of contexts.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
And it was something we were talking about before we were recording, is something like a play bow. We know as a play bow.
Yep.
We know it means the dog's ready to play, and whether that's with a person, with another dog. It can also be used to stretch.
Yep.
To diffuse a situation. It can also be, and this is probably more a herding breed thing, but a lot of herding breeds will get into a play bow before they drop into a crouch.
Yep.
Or they'll get into a play bow and then spring up to control movement. So it gets a little bit tricky.
And when we're talking about body stiffness before, if we talk about different breeds, like often your bully type breeds are a lot stiffer, and they might go a little bit stiffer before they actually play, and you think, what's happening here? But border collies can do that too.
Yeah.
They can get a little bit stiffer and you think, what's going on? But then it's actually just them. Yeah. So, there's a lot.
There is a lot, and I think one thing we see is people reading the dogs too late.
Yeah.
And that's not having a go at owners. It's just they're not. People aren't experts in dog body language.
No.
If you're a pet owner, most of the time you're not analysing, unless you've got a bit more of an interest in dogs and dog behaviour, you're not analysing everything your dog does.
No, of course you're not.
It's like I don't analyse every sound my car makes.
No. No, exactly right.
Not that it makes a lot of noises, but
I just turn the radio up so you can't hear him.
yeah, but when you turn the radio down, it makes noises.
Yeah.
And then you go, is this a normal noise, or like does it do this all the time? And then you just don't worry about it. But
yeah,
it's
most
like
of them don't.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think also you've got to see, like we see a lot of dogs and we're looking at them all the time. And like I said, we're not right next to them. We're standing back watching. So you sort of, I guess over the years you pick up just naturally the way different dogs do different things. And you can sort of pick up and learn with that. But it's hard for a pet owner that's, got one or two dogs at home and, just looking at their own dog sort of thing. So it can be a very hard thing, I think.
It can be. And I think if we could give people something to take away from this, it would be to try and read the language during a reaction.
Yep.
Instead of the tiny little bits that have as we said, those tiny little bits are important, but it's not worth beating yourself up about, did I miss a lick lip? Did I miss a head turn? Did I miss,
Oh, yeah.
It's going, okay, well, we've had this reaction. What happened in the seconds up to it? What happened in it? And let's work from there.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think people want to beat themselves up too much about body language. I think, it's great to know and to look at all these things and learn your own dog, but sometimes there's a little bit too much out there about you should be able to do it. And like you said, a lot of us just want to go for a walk or have some fun with our dogs. We're not analysing every time they move. So, don't want to be too hard on yourself.
No, but it's probably starting, if you are having trouble or problems with your dog, it's moving from being reactive to proactive.
Yep.
And going, well, what happened? When did it happen? And if you want to go down those lines of looking at all those little things, but it's not worth worrying about to a degree.
Yep. But having a bit of a think, about what happened coming up to the reaction's always good.
Yeah.
With the environment and everything like that.
Yes. So this is where I suppose, we start to talk about setting environments up.
Yep.
Lowering the pressure on yourself.
Yep.
Building patterns that the dog understands and giving the dog clear options of, hey, I don't have to do that. Or we can do this instead. And not relying on just reading your dog alone, because otherwise, like you said, you end up like the lady that took your course.
Yep.
And you overanalyze every single tiny thing.
Yep. Yeah. And I don't think the dog was necessarily that worried. But anyway. Yeah, no, definitely. And I guess that is getting them real world readiness.
It is, yes.
Or real world ready.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So, what are the big takeaways from this episode?
I think, you're not missing anything. It is genuinely hard.
Yeah, it can be.
Really hard. What have you got?
It's one piece of a whole picture.
Yep.
It can be one piece of a 1,000-piece puzzle, really. And it's a piece that on one hand rightly has a lot of emphasis, but on the other hand can have too much emphasis.
Yep.
And I think that's where it's tricky for people to try and work out where it actually does fit.
Yep. Sometimes the goal isn't perfection, it's awareness and some better setups.
Yep.
Anything else?
Probably something I think we would say for anything, but it is again really important that any sort of training you're doing, whether it's around body language, anything, it's not about being perfect. It's not about understanding your dog to the 100th degree. It's just about working on what works for you.
Yep, definitely. Alrighty, I think that's about it. Got anything else to?
No, I mean, I think we could probably go on for
ages.
Yeah, it's one of those topics that's quite big, but I don't think, we said at the start off recording of this that we could sit here and talk about what this means, what a tight lip means, but we don't think that's going to be helpful for someone listening to this.
No, but
and there are plenty of resources out there if you are interested.
Definitely. And if you want us to talk about those things, you can always let us know and we will do something about that. But no, I think what we've covered is pretty good, broad range for everyone.
Yep.
So don't forget to give us a follow if you're enjoying these. Give us a 5-star rating.
Yep.
Puts it out so more people can see us and hear us.
Yep.
And that's pretty much a wrap.
Yep, it is. Are you going to say anything?
No, because I'll get into trouble if I say bye.
Oh, okay. You're not going to say we'll see you in the next one?
Oh, we'll see you in the next one.